You're going to be telling me.
I'm going to be telling you some stuff. I don't want your opinion on it.
Don't bait me.
Okay, you can't eat next to the mic and all we can hear is... Welcome back, everyone, to Liberal Hour. As you know what they say, keep it left.
Relax. Welcome back.
You're trying to do an ASMR video?
I don't know what ASMR is.
You, of course you know what ASMR is. It's those like soft videos that they like whisper or make like...
I could be, now that you say it, a white noise
sounds.
Audio to put children to sleep, to help people rest and tone down from
What's
the
the definition of white noise? Isn't it like
I don't know.
a mild
consistent sound?
A mild, consistent sound in the back.
A beautifully soft, consistent sound.
A mild, consistent, annoying sound in the background literally summarizes Jay McInnes to a T.
It's not annoying.
You, sir, are white noise. I just wish I was better at drowning you out.
That'll never happen.
Unfortunately, I agree. Anyway, we're back to the Liberal 5. I'm calling it Liberal 5 because the video is 5 minutes. Probably going to be longer than 5 minutes. The 5 has no reference. We're back to the Liberal conversation. The Liberals won, as we know.
The Liberals won, as we know. Mr. Trudeau spent $650 million to re-win.
No. He spent our $650 million to re-win. Anyway, so we're going to have a conversation about, mostly it is from the Liberals, but what their platform said they were going to do, some of their proposed changes. Do we think it's actually going to make a difference? And I think it's important to highlight, is it going to make a difference in Vancouver?
Of course.
To make
all that we care about.
Exactly. We care about everyone else.
I don't.
To all of our
I don't care about any other real estate markets.
all of our Istanbul fans, we love you. We did that thing, we looked at where a lot of our fans were. I think there was one fan from Istanbul.
That's true. A lot from France as well. Good memory. It was a youthful memory.
Just
over
that
there.
youth memory over here, okay?
Now that you mentioned that. Keep going.
Okay. So, let's start with something a little bit basic. And this is one that pretty much most of the party said. Ban foreign buyer investment for 2 years. Difference? Yay or nay? Nicaragua.
Canada, America, France, Australia, Nicaragua. Top 5 countries that view us.
We're global.
Thank you very much. We have gone international long ago, but it's a fact. Banning foreign buyers for... Okay, yeah. I deflate at the sound of that, yes.
I don't think it's going to make any difference, any noticeable difference in any way, shape, or form.
They've already got to pay 20% now.
Mm-hmm.
It severely crippled that market.
At that time.
Yeah, but it paused the entire market for a little bit.
Would you mind?
I apologize to the people, not you. You need to deal with the facts here. The upper end of the market, of course, has been considerably slower than that peak time. Right before they got slapped with the second level of tax, bringing it up. It was 5, and then they brought it was
15, and then it was 20. It was not 5.
I'm pretty sure
it was 15.
No, you're right. That's right.
It was 15, and then obviously they got the additional like speculation and the higher property transfer taxes and whatnot.
I don't think it will.
So the short answer is no. I don't think it's going to do enough to affect our market, and I think we can chalk that up to one of the buzzword comments because it's a popular conversation and it's an easy conversation piece to win votes. But I think the impact has already been seen with that change, with the 20%. So banning the foreign buying, I don't think it will have as big as an impact as maybe your everyday folks out there are hoping to.
I think the conversation needs to go in a different direction. The political conversation.
Okay.
The political conversation always caters down to the people that are out of the market, which I think is wrong. Which this is all part of. I think the political conversation needs to be towards the people that have purchased real estate and are in the market, which that specifically doesn't affect at all. So I think that the conversations that are taking place, which a lot of them we're going to touch on right now, are misguided in their direction. I'll leave it at that.
Well, and that's it. They're buzzwords. They're buzz comments in order to win votes of typically younger people who are trying to get into the home space, especially for areas like Vancouver, as I think a lot of people still think that foreign investment is killing them.
Keeping them out.
And yeah, it's not. Okay. So here's an interesting one. The rent-to-own scheme. So I'll preface this, not preface.
Preface
this. Huh? So rent-to-own is very popular in Europe.
Okay.
It's wildly taken advantage of, and it has proved successful. But again, can it be successful in an area like Vancouver as opposed to certain areas in Nova Scotia, for example? That's the question in which we have here. Because let me just preface this with a couple of things as well. We will design the program to support projects with these three principles. The landlord must commit to charging a renter lower than market rate to help Canadians build up savings for a down payment. The landlord must commit to ownership in a 5-year term or less. And big thing here, we will commit $1 billion in loans and grants to develop and scale up rent-to-own projects. That's federally, so that's Canada-wide, which is why I think that's too small of a budget to make a dent on us here in Vancouver.
Why is it necessary?
Well, it's another means of getting people
as the biggest roadblock to. Okay, can we all agree that?
And by all you mean we.
Can we agree that the adding of inventory to the current stock is would be a results-driven metric to fixing the housing problem?
Yep.
Okay.
You can agree.
I think that is a very common
That's what
understanding.
That's what this is aiming towards, in its defense.
With a little layer of, too thick of a layer of social assistance on it, in my opinion. Why don't the government make the building process easier?
Oh, well, it's funny that you actually mentioned that, Jay, because I was actually trying to bait you into this conversation, and you've lended into it fantastically. As long as I can find it.
Because the government can throw money at developers and grants and loans, and taxpayers pay it, and who cares who pays it back, all they want. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, they are the biggest roadblock in the development of new stock, with taxation, with lineups at City Hall, with not creating a conducive environment to actually build a consistent flow of inventory into the market.
So one of the things they are talking about is this Housing Accelerator Fund. So on their website here it says, which will grow the annual housing supply in the country's largest cities every year, creating a target of 100,000 new middle-class homes by 2024 to 2025. Largest cities every year. So obviously that's going to be multiple cities. How large that really
and what are
they're going and what that breakup is going to be. So it's just going to be, is it enough? But essentially,
but what's an accelerator fund?
So an accelerator fund, so they're going to basically give up to $4 billion to these cities' governments in order to hire the people to speed up the zoning process.
Oh, that's...
Yes.
It's about goddamn time. That's the only thing that they have ever said that made sense.
Yeah, so they said the funding will be flexible. So, of course, what some cities need is different versus other cities. And they were looking at going to an e-permit system as well, which would be pretty interesting. That everything can be done online, applications submitted all online.
Can you buy the applications with Bitcoin?
It's another conversation. That's another couch conversation. But Nonetheless, anyone who's dealt with permits knows how difficult the city are to typically deal with online and getting an email confirming anything one way or another. So that would be pretty interesting. And that to me is probably, well, this and arguably one other thing, is a key metric in actually doing something productive to help the supply issue.
It is, but it's also just adding more bureaucracy. Instead of cutting back taxes, instead of cutting back rules and restrictions on zoning, instead of cutting back, they always have to pile in. Let's just throw more billions at it. Does the process become more streamlined with more people? Yes. Could the process become a lot more streamlined in other ways, like minimizing roadblocks, taxation, and rules, bylaws, blah, blah, blah? Yes. I just don't like how there's always bureaucracy thrown at these problems. And it's typical government, but it's not the most conducive way to do something.
However,
but what can we expect from
the
Liberal government?
I am going to play devil's advocate here, because the actual process, the actual requirements of the zoning do not fall to the federal government. It does fall to the provincial government. So really, it should be us. It should be the NDP making those changes, if you will. Rather, the federal government, obviously, this is taking me back to my real estate license days and what the federal and provincial governments differences in local municipalities are responsible for. So in defense of the Liberals in this case, I'm not defending the Liberal Party overall, beyond throwing money at it, I'm not sure what else they can do, unless they come out across the board saying, okay, we're changing this across the board, everyone has to deal.
Well, this is the thing, they ride so heavily on their housing plans because there's so much issue with housing and pricing and people can't get in, catering to the little guy again. They don't have the stretch or the means or the right to discuss that at this level, in my opinion, because it's all municipal. So it's like, I'm going to go into the municipalities of said big cities, and these are the changes we're going to make there on that level, because that's actually what's doing it. Those are valuable points, not we're throwing people, we're throwing tax dollars, we're good, vote for us. It's just too buzzwords. It's too blanket of a situation for us to expect any big changes.
A note on the Housing Accelerating Fund. They're also trying to work with municipalities to acknowledge vacant or underused land, kind of like a use it or lose it type thing. And
that's owned by the municipalities?
Well, that's what it doesn't say. So,
or like people that have lots, they're going to push them to do something or tax them higher.
Well,
more likely.
Yeah, it hasn't come out and hasn't been said. It's the same thing as like, we're going to end homelessness. How? We're just going to end it. But nonetheless, they're trying to work with that again to try and push people into like using it or losing it, which, although there is the vacancy tax, etc., I do still feel there is a lot of underutilized property here in Vancouver. And again, how far that gets pushed and actually what that means in terms of the parameters of that use it or lose it could be very good for us, or it could be, okay, it's going to do nothing.
But again, then that, without putting that pressure on the municipality and putting it on the owners, that again adds government dictation of what you can do with this investment you own, what you can do with this piece of property.
So I would
We're now pulling strings, which is more ridiculous. You're just adding bureaucracy to the investment, which
I would assume, and I agree with you, I would assume it's towards municipality-owned property. And I would hope, unless you start targeting people and forcing them to do what they should do.
All the other taxes that have come in the last 3 years is exactly that. So why would they act any differently? That's the problem.
Okay.
What else?
There is also one of the big talks, which is upping the limit of insured mortgages from 1 million to 1.25 million.
Which is just going to make the market more competitive because people have more money at their disposal.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn between this a little bit, short and long term. Short term, again, people can borrow more. I think you'll find that buyers will probably wait because they'll say, okay, when this comes in, I'll have more buying power. Sellers will also probably wait if they can, because they'll say, I'll have a larger demographic looking at this.
Yeah.
Long term, I wonder if it's the best solution, because traditionally, as human beings, the lower and middle class have been very open to taking on debt. And at what level do you take on more and more and more debt until we start getting to, I don't want to say a 2008 situation because that was the accumulation of things, but essentially people are going to jump at the chance of taking more debt as I hate saying this word, social responsibility. What does that mean long term?
I think that there needs to be, obviously no one, especially in the last, since COVID, no one is, I don't think, scared of taking on debt, as we've seen, as rates have gone down. When they're buying things like real estate, there's a very strong belief in that, so people are more than happy to overextend in a lot of cases, I think is a healthy statement to say. But then again, that's very subjective in how much lifestyle do you want to lose for the sake of the debt. But that's, again, a whole other situation. How much intervention do we want the government to have on how much debt we should be able to take on? Is the bigger question. So they're making it more affordable by insuring a higher number.
Yeah.
Which, yes, is another form of making money cheaper that will attract more people because people are squeezed. Should they take the money? Shouldn't they? Again, personal preference. Long term, when rates start to go up, personally, I don't believe that is going to be anything significant in the next handful of years. People just need to be ready, be adults. What kind of job do you have? Is your job safe? When rates go up, you can't turn a blind eye to rates going up, even though I don't think it'll be in the short term, but how much debt is worth taking? Like if it's your principal residence, it's not like it's an investment that's paying you $1,000 a month and the rates went up, so now it's paying you only $500. This is your house, your home, your memories, and all the fluffy stuff, the roof over your head, your neighborhood, your schools, and when the bill goes from $3,000 a month to $4,000 a month, what does that do? And I don't think people think of the long-term happening. Well, everyone did it before. Housing's so popular. It's got to be safe, right? Oh my God, everyone's taking $5,000 a month loans, right? Right? Okay, I'll do it. It's just so conducive to this environment because it's so steadily gone up for so long. And I definitely think people will take it. And at some point, a lot of people will get screwed because it's a market. It will change. But I don't see that in the short term.
Yeah, and again, that's why I'm torn between this short and long term. And again, looking at the long term answer to the market is, okay, so you're just increasing home buyer demand.
Yes.
You're not assisting with any of the inventory, which is where our real problem is.
The more things like that, the more, and there's obviously the interest rates are a federal thing as well, passed down. Bank of Canada, that whole mess, but it's how cheap do we make money in a variety of different ways, and what people are gonna do with it. I don't know. I think it's
only time will tell, but it is calling the date. October 13th is the 13th. Yes, October 13th at 1:31. And when the market collapses in 2030,
2030. We have another 7 years.
Oh, I'm talking like another 2008 crash or anything like that. We can go back to I told you so. October 13th at 1:31.
I think the good old let's just save our money. Well, you can't save anymore either because inflation is running at 5 or 6%, even though the government will tell you it's 2. Get a higher paying job and save faster and stop spending your money on dumb shit and buying faster as opposed to all these social parachutes for buyers should be the mindset that these people are put into. Not, we're the government, we're gonna make life easier for you, even though you don't deserve it, but gone are the days that a house is like, oh my God, I had to save and this is such an achievement. It's now 5 layers of government intervention to make everything cheaper so you can afford it sooner because you deserve it. You deserve it, little buddy. It's a problem out there.
I feel like there's all these things that we're saying that they deserve their own videos. They deserve their own 10-minute videos.
That's true.
There's another cool thing here though that, and this is the optimism inside of me, which I don't think is going to really make a difference to the market, but it'd be really cool because I love this type of property. They want to work with, because of obviously COVID, a lot of people vacated their offices, they didn't come back working from home. So there's a lot of vacant commercial spacing. They want to work with local municipalities on converting some of that commercial space to residential, which I see that, and I see like all these really cool gas town type lofts in these commercial buildings. And so far in Vancouver, we have a lot of those that are kind of stuck in and around the gas town area. So like Corette Lofts, 55 East Cordova is a popular one. They have some really cool properties there, but a lot of people don't want to live there because of the area. It would be cool to see that kind of style of property spread out into other areas of the city. And I think that would be really sweet, because it would just bring, from a purely cool property perspective.
I think to that point of Cordova, and people don't want to live there because of the neighborhood, that is a government problem that they should take care of, the neighborhood. We're not going to touch on that any more than that.
Well, and part of their platform, they did say that they're going to end chronic homelessness.
More tax dollars, building more social housing, bringing more homeless people from back east over here because of the climate and the free bus passes, and just giving them a house. And again, here's everything that everyone else works hard for that you just get for free. Anyway, that's a whole other story again. But in Japan, again, back to the restrictions of government with zoning, specifically in that case, you will have...
Bearing in mind the last conversation we had about Japan was you being furious that they didn't speak fluent English.
No, that was out of context. That I called
that's exactly what happened.
Watched the Omega store in Japan. I apologize if I expect one. Now I sound like an idiot. Thanks for bringing that up.
Just nibble.
Is you'll have like a 2-story house.
Yep.
Right beside like a 20-story tower. Mm-hmm. So the zoning is per lot. This is what I'm applying for. This is what I want to do. It's not like blanket neighborhood zoning like here. Mm-hmm. So to your point of you'd have cool, unique spaces all over the place. That's what they do there, and it's a lot more conducive to real life. Not like this is the commercial area and you can only zone this here, so deal with it. Mm-hmm. And that puts strain on that neighborhood, and pricing obviously goes up because it's so tightly restricted. Opening up the zoning and doing something like that for current stock as well as new, I think is another massive untightening of restriction that would help this whole issue that we have.
Especially to what extent as well, because I think you would get a lot of unique, interesting, and probably larger spaces as well, because they are designated as commercial, unless we're talking about chopping them up to be like tiny studios and multiple studios in one, which I hope is not the case.
If there's a market for it, there's a market for it.
There
would be a market for it.
Which is what, unfortunately, I think it could possibly be, because, we can get 4 homes in this and sell 4 different homes, like developers are these days.
But look at, again, I was just going to say, look at developers now. Anything you see that comes up and down town in Vancouver, luxury, because it's going to cost them, what, $8,000, $9,000, $1,000 a foot to goddamn build the thing.
Yeah,
because of the taxes, because of the zoning.
Then this is a little bit different, because judging by the sound of it, what they want to do is they want to work with existing owners on converting it.
Different.
So, but again, like if you're an existing owner and someone's coming up to you and saying, hey, you can sell these new micro luxury lofts for X amount per square foot, or you can make a cool, unique property and sell it for a little bit more per square foot, but because of scales of economy.
You know, at I think it's two Burrard Place they're calling it.
Are you going to talk about these luxury lofts that are going up where 7-Eleven is, like 400 square feet micro lofts?
Are they still doing that?
I don't know.
I don't think they are, but initially, I don't know if it was Reliance or not who has that's doing that. They were going to do, there was a black and red detailed tower of micro lofts that was like 300 square feet that they were going to do.
I remember there was a luxury micro loft for sale in Cole Harbour. I think this was a couple of years ago, and they were asking for $2,000 a square foot, and it got absolutely destroyed on social media, newspapers, and everything, because it was obviously just someone selling a tiny space as a luxury micro loft, and it got chopped down, which I'm glad it did, because like even though we're realtors, there's a cutoff. Like, come on.
It's the market. If you can sell it, great. If you can't, fair enough.
It's and some people go for it as well, but I think we've spoken long enough. I've asked your opinion on a lot of stuff, which, I mean, everyone watching this knows your opinion means nothing. So, we've got about 8 minutes worth of worthless Jay McInnes opinion and a little bit of mine thrown in there as well.
The facts need to be spoken, and today they have begun to be spoken.
Yeah,
I think it will cut into...
It's nicely how they're going to like trickle into some of the other conversations and topics we're going to be bringing in and discussing these days, especially...
more focused, poignant topics as opposed to general market knowledge, I think.
Well, I think these things like real estate and the market leads into alternative investing, and other things like crypto, the way that the liberals would run things, the way the conservatives would run things, and the way the world is going overall right now. Life coaches, some may say.
Us?
Yes.
Life coaches.
Life coaches.
Are we old enough? I don't feel I've experienced... As much as I'd love to coach the world, I still don't believe I've experienced enough to do so. And there is no way in goddamn hell have experienced enough to be a life coach.
31 years old. I'm in my prime.
Out of knowledge.
Life coaches, what not to do.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, guys, I think that wraps us up.
That's
we'll
it.
See you next time.
If you can't afford it, you don't deserve it. We'll see you next week.
And subscribe, click the like or smash the like button, as you Aussies say. Contact details below if you want to reach out.
Aussies?
See you next time, guys.
Well, that was horrible. See you later.
See you later.